Impact Wrestling presents Emergence, streaming live Sunday, August 27th.
For one fall, and is your Slammiversary main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, challenger number one, making his way to the ring from Tampa, Florida, weighing in at 216 pounds, a double Austin Aries.
The victory over Kenny King puts Austin Aries inside the steel cage. He is challenger number one.
And now, introducing challenger number two, weighing in at 272 pounds from Denver, Colorado, Lashley.
And Taz, if you think about it, it was early in the night when Lashley defeated Samoa Joe. So while Lashley competing for a second time this evening, he has had that downtime.
He has. He definitely has. Great point. But I will say, I think that Aries, I don't know if Aries is 100%. He looks it, but I don't know. His match was extremely physical, and it was later in the night, to your point. But the one advantage I have to say that the world champion has, who's coming out here in a second, is that he is fresh coming into this. He's going to need to be fresh.
And now, introducing their opponents, weighing in at 235 pounds from Nashville, Tennessee. He is the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Showtime, Eric Young.
Taz, he's fresh, and he's crazy.
He's crazy.
Hell, think about it. He's the craziest Canadian this side of Toronto Mayor Rob Ford.
And that's saying a lot right there. Because that guy's a trip. He's the whole vacation. But I digress. But anyway, look, you know Eric Young longer than me. You know him a long time. He's crazy, but he's crazy like a fox. He knows what he's doing. And he loves this type of stuff. He loves going into the underdog situation, the overachiever situation. That's his style. That's what built his career. I respect that out of him. So, but he's still, this is tough sledding right here, buddy. Real tough.
There's the World Heavyweight title that was won by Eric Young on April the 10th. He won a Battle Royal. Yes, he later that night defeated Magnus to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
Your World Heavyweight title match can only be determined by pinfall or submission only.
And I like that, especially with the high stakes in this matchup. Let's make it pin or submission. No need to have escape the cage rules.
And the bottom line, look, the cage is here to keep people out of it. You know, that's basically it. Just the three men and the referee going at it for the World Heavyweight title, and there's no wasted motion. And there goes Lashley, just running right through Aries.
And this steel cage match at the request of Eric Young after he won 2 out of the 3 matches on Impact Wrestling this past Thursday night. Eric unleashes the offense with the right hand. The leapfrog by Lashley. He drops the champ with the clothesline. And again, Bobby Lashley here in this steel cage match.
Oh, man.
He's on his own. No help from Kenny King or MVP.
I don't think he needs any help, bro.
Yeah, because of the pressure put on MVP by the TNA Board of Directors.
Yes, true. But right now, Lashley's in control of both men.
Going to take him up to the shoulder. Yeah, that Dominator, that running power slam. But instead, it's Aries who connects on Lashley.
Well, look, I think both men, it's not that they, in essence, they are teaming up on Lashley, but they have something in common. Let's get this big monster out of this thing together, or just keep him down or hurt him. Wow. Yeah, that's impressive right there.
The superior strength of Lashley, taking both Aries and Young overhead, but now Lashley sent into the side of the steel cage by the teamwork.
You gotta be careful.
But then watch Aries. You said be careful and saw how quickly he slid in for the pin attempt.
the thing is, like with Aries. Aries is about Aries, Mike. That's what, you know, he's
always has been.
Straight up self-centered. I respect that out of the guy. And he's going to do what he's got to do to become the world champion. And if that means being buddies for a second or two with EY during this match, he would. And he did that. You? Right. That's how he is. He's conniving. He's He's also about to get press slammed with press.
Wow. Boy, what a view we had of that. The face of Aries went right into the side of the steel cage, then on the other side of the ring. Aries
Bobby, I'm sorry, Mike. Bobby Lashley just taking big human beings, throwing them around like them rag dolls. Let's take a look here. Look at both men ramming Lashley into that steel fence. But look at the power here. And then Lashley just, after that, took EY and just chucked him.
Lashley covers the champ, and EY powers out. Again, pin or submission. The only way to determine a winner in the cage match.
Well, look at this game plan here by Aries. Going after those round kicks, going after the back of the hamstring of Bobby Lashley. But, oh, man, again, the power. And look at this. Oh, watching EY. I'm sorry, watch EY here, Mike.
Here comes Eric Young with a missile drop kick off the top. Nailed Lashley. Champ covers, Champ gets two.
What I was about to say was about Lashley, in my opinion, the longer the match goes, I feel the stronger he gets. And that's a conditioning thing. His match sense, his physicality, the muscle mass on him, his diet, everything about his life. He's built for battle. Lashley is built for battle, and he's proven it.
Talked about the resumes of the two challengers throughout this evening. Lashley, former two-time World Heavyweight Champion. Aries, of course, taking that option C, turning the X Division Championship into the World Heavyweight title. And now, Aries and Lashley look to become World Heavyweight Champions once again.
You saw Aries grabbing at that shoulder. I'm telling you, that little bit right there we saw in Aries. He's not, I don't think he's 100% out of that match with Kenny King. I'm telling you that.
You can definitely see him favoring it as he gets turned inside out by the champ's clothesline.
Nice back suplex by EY.
Leads to the pin, and Champ gets two again.
And you know what, Mike? I mean, how bad? Tell our audience how bad. And you know what, Eric Young, as I said very well, how bad, how proud, I should say, is EY of being the world champion?
I mean, he's talked about it on so many occasions, how it's been the most important factor in his wrestling life. All the years that he struggled to get to this point and become World Heavyweight Champion. And now, that title could be
in jeopardy for sure.
Dangerous jeopardy here.
My God. Oh. Look at that. Look at that out of Aries. No stopping this guy. He sees EY, kicks out. He drills Lashley. I love it.
Would he go for the brainbuster here on Lashley?
Can he get him up? Can he get him up? Oh my God.
He had that brainbuster in mind, but Lashley counters by flinging Aries overhead into the cage. And Lashley can win the title here with the pin on Aries, of course, and almost did.
That's right. Let's take a look at the lower back. There's one spot. Man, how about that? But he almost got the...
how about that DDT out of nowhere by the champ?
When Lashley covered Aries for the pin, if he would have got the 1, 2, 3, Lashley would have been the world champion. Imagine that.
Just this close. Eric charges into the corner. Ooh, Lashley connects, but now all three men involved with Aries.
That was nasty.
Open hand chop to the chest of Eric Young. Ooh.
Just doing anything he can, Aries, to just hurt, injure, do something to Eric Young.
EY takes Aries up to the shoulders, then uses the body of Aries almost as a battering ram.
Mike, look at this.
Imagine that. Look at the superior strength here of Eric Young. Both Lashley and Aries got 500 pounds.
Hey, man.
Up on his shoulders. Wow.
Man, respect right there for EY.
Pin. Cover on Lashley. No. Wow.
That was impressive. Let's take a look at that.
I'm not seeing it, but I'm not believing it.
You got to do a lot of squatting, a lot of hack squatting and leg pressing to have that kind of power.
And we come back live, and, well, we know the object is not to escape. As Eric was climbing up to the corner, who knows what he was having in his mind, what kind of offensive move that he would attempt from out the side of the
this
cage.
is dangerous here, Mike. Very dangerous area here.
And Lashley.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
Through the body of Eric Young, just draped over the top of the cage.
I don't know what the hell Lashley's doing here.
Lashley reigning in the rights. But Aries...
Hang on, this is dangerous here. Remember, it's pinfall or submission.
That's it.
Not escape the cage. This is dangerous. You have all these men, one E-White hanging off the tops of the steel cage. Oh, no.
Wow. Jumping in midair, snapping off the Hurricane Rana, Super Hurricane Rana from the top was Aries on Lashley.
Wait, Mike.
The champ.
Oh, no.
The crazy Eric Young.
Oh, Eric, be careful.
Oh, look how high Eric Young is. All the way at the top of the cage. Drops the elbow on the chest of Lashley.
That was insane.
Here's the cover. Here's the pin. Aries makes the save.
Wow.
Aries going to go brainbuster. He's got him up.
Got him.
And he dropped him right on his head.
Aries going
to be the champ.
Aries going to win it.
Here's two. No, not enough.
God, that was so close. Aries can't believe it.
The move that has gained Aries so many wins.
What a match. What a match. Oh!
Aries speared out of his boots by Lashley. Who covered. And, oh, we almost had a new champion again right there.
I don't know who's going to win this thing, but whoever it is, it's going to cap off. Oh, a great night. This has been awesome. Uh-oh. Lashley's in the zone, baby.
And he's got the champion Eric Young in his sights. Eric, as he gets to his feet. Oh, able to drop down. Oh, and he went for the spear. And Lashley went flying. He went headfirst into the cage door and then landed outside the ring. That spear that gained him this spot.
I don't know how his skull is not split open. Lashley really hit that steel hard, exploding through the gate. EY sees an opening. It's a one-on-one opportunity. One-on-one opportunity.
Hits the top rope elbow on Aries.
EY's got him hooked.
Leg hook.
1, 2, 3.
Not enough.
God. Oh, my God.
And just two.
The disappointment in the eyes of EY. What a match here.
Feel like we've been saying that all night.
The energy in this arena has been awesome throughout the night.
Well, Eric Young motioning to the crowd that he has a finishing move in mind here for Aries. Talking about the pile driver was EY.
Uh-oh.
Instead, the reversal. But then the roll through. And Aries with the drop kick right in the face of the champ.
Well, you know, Lashley's still obviously out. I'm sure he's knocked out cold on the outside there. How hard he hit that steel gate. Again, a one-on-one opportunity for each of these men here.
Aries first to his feet as they exchange mid-ring. The forearm shots. The right hand by the champion Eric Young.
It's like a hockey fight out here.
And Eric's still on his feet.
He's barely on his feet. EY, he's going to go wrong forearm. Yep, oh!
Discus missed. Oh, went for the flying forearm. Did Eric Young, and that missed.
Boom!
That time the discus forearm was right on target, right on the money.
And he's got him cornered, got EY cornered, drills him with another one. Great job by Aries.
There's the full speed corner drop kick. You could hear the impact of the blow in the corner. Opportunity presents itself for Aries if he hits the brainbuster. EY able to fight it off using the side of the cage and hit the pile driver out of nowhere.
Nailed it. Got to turn him over, Eric. Got to turn him over. Shoot him.
Champion covers, 2, keeps the title.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, and still TNA Heavyweight Champion of the World, Eric Young.
Tremendous job by Eric Young. Bobby Lashley at the very end was trying to get back in. You can see his eyes. He's out of it. He hit that steel so hard. The big story. EY somehow gets it done. Stage champ.
What a spectacular ending to a tremendous Slammiversary pay-per-view event. Eric Young has done it again. EY remains World Heavyweight Champion. Taz, as we take another look at the incredible action inside the steel cage.
We saw the dominance of Bobby Lashley throughout this thing here. And it was just the physicality of his 3D. How about this? When the world champion, as you point out, just damn near about 500 pounds. Austin Aries was his excellent self as usual.
Wow.
And then EY off the top of the cage for a moment. It looked like Jimmy Snooker for a second. That was a slap. And this right there was a difference maker. That had a knockout Lashley. And then these two men went at it one-on-one. EY and Aries. Could have went either way. Several close calls. But boom! Power driver city. EY leaves Texas. What a champ.
And there's the replay of the 3 count. You're right. Eric Young has done it again. EY overcomes the odds tonight at Slammiversary. Went from 1 opponent to 2. Think of the minimal time that Eric Young had to prepare for these 2 opponents tonight. But Eric Young has done it again.
Yeah, we're showing respect right here, Eric Young to Austin Aries. And what a great night it was, I gotta say. From we saw the Von Erichs, the young Von Erichs in action, Ross and Marshall, and how about Kevin putting a claw on? The place erupted. We saw Team 3D get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, just
Texas Death Match with EC3 and Bully Ray. Anderson and Storm, the involvement of the Dallas Cowboys. The ladder match with the X Division title.
That was awesome.
What a night it was.
It really was. I mean, it's just a great night. Great stuff through and through.
Yes. And while we saw some incredible matches and incredible highlights throughout this Slammiversary event, what we'll always remember, world champ Eric Young, just crazy enough, he's still got the title.
Cool backstage look right there. You don't see that normally with Kurt Angle's entrance. Very cool to bring everybody, including us, backstage.
You get an opportunity to see Kurt Angle
Very
he
cool.
makes his way through the Wembley Arena for this main event.
Hey, I've been on the other side of that guy in a ring more than once. Not a night off. I'm telling you from experience. Ain't anybody, and I said ain't, more legit than the 13-time World Heavyweight Champion, the Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle.
So from locker room to arena.
That was cool. That was cool, man. I'm telling you.
You can't help but get goosebumps. And here we go. Kurt Angle, the TNA Hall of Famer, the first ever TNA World Champion. His 5 reigns, the most in company history. The only man walking this or any other planet that has held the TNA, WWE, World Heavyweight, IWGP, and WCW World title. Kurt Angle embodies wrestling.
Well, you laid it out perfectly there, my man. No doubt about it. Good job by you. And I'll tell you this right now. Look, all the accolades, all the world titles, all earned the hard way. This guy works his rear end off. I've been in the gym with this guy over the years. You can't keep up with Kurt Angle. He's a cyborg. There you see the world heavyweight champion, Lashley, carries that big, beautiful gold championship over his massive body. This is a guy who could just basically tear you limb from limb from his history in MMA, as an amateur wrestler, as a pro wrestler. How do you stop this guy?
Same but different type of intensity with the same walk from Kurt Angle that you see now for the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Lashley.
Really give you a nice behind-the-scenes feel of what it's like. Very cool. I don't think you see this much with pro wrestling on television today. And it's very cool to bring fans behind the scenes and see what it's really like. Because this is legit. This is how it is. There's nobody around and no one's saying, hey, go out and do this, do that. This is the real deal you're looking at, folks. I promise. Because if you're not ready at this point, you don't belong at this level. You don't need nobody in your ear before you walk through a curtain. This champ.
Lashley has been world champion for 72 straight days. Since winning the title on January the 7th, Lashley has faced all challengers. Lashley has walked alone. And this, his second title reign, has been absolutely phenomenal.
Man, you want to talk big fight feel? Good gosh, this is it. First time ever, Kurt Angle versus Lashley, World Heavyweight title, Wembley Arena, not too shabby. Look at the size of the champ, Josh. Freak-like.
And just let your inner dialogue take over. Nobody can tell the story better than you can as we get ready for Angle versus Lashley.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall and is your main event for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, standing to my right, weighing in at 234 pounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He is professional wrestling's only Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. And now, introducing, standing to my left, weighing in at 278 pounds from Denver, Colorado. He is the TNA Heavyweight Champion of the World, the Destroyer, Lashley.
Lashley has a 44-pound weight advantage over Kurt Angle. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, Angle, Lashley, first time ever. We welcome you back to Impact Wrestling. This is our main event. Kurt Angle, the challenger. Lashley, the champion. The first time these two have ever met, and it's for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. It happens right now.
All the years I've known both these guys, it never dawned on me until recently here that they've never faced each other. Look at that nice drop step into a single leg, but not able to get Angle down. Kurt scoots behind. See the wrist control right there by Lashley. Breaks free, and the power, the quickness, man. See that athleticism by the champ.
Kurt Angle off his feet for the first time in this matchup. Both of these men, incredible amateur backgrounds before getting into professional wrestling. Kurt Angle, of course, well documented, the 1996 Olympic gold medalist. Lashley got into MMA, has a 12-2 mixed martial arts record. Takedown, cover, and Angle pops free at one.
See Lashley again shot for that leg that's heavily braced and got it, and then swept the other leg. He's breaking free those waist locks by Kurt, which is very hard to do. Kurt Angle, again, kind of having a hard time getting out of blocks against the quickness, power, and energy of the champion.
Earlier tonight, your prediction, Taz, you went with Kurt Angle to become new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Angle said earlier tonight, if I can defeat Lashley, the most dominant wrestler in the history of TNA, I can prove I'm one of the best here tonight.
Nice duck up, that drop step into a high crotch, then takes down Angle with a go behind takedown, trying to trap the arm as he has the head. You see Kurt get wrist control and gets his own single leg and he's gonna suck it in now. He'll pull it in. Oh no, he changed off. That's what really great wrestlers like these two guys do. They change off of holds a lot. You won't see a lot of pro wrestlers do that. They'll go to different levels on holds.
And this time Angle catches Lashley.
Beautiful throw by Kurt. He's going for a German maybe. Oh, wow.
And Kurt Angle keeping his hands locked. We saw Angle deliver 10 German suplexes to Eric Young on Angle's way to becoming #1 contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
I am shocked that Kurt Angle just popped off those Germans this early in the match. I think he's sending a message directly to Lashley. I can throw you anytime I want in this match.
There have been 16 TNA World Heavyweight Champions. Kurt Angle, the very first.
That drop toe hold into that ankle lock already.
Here we go.
Angle not working by the hour here.
Will Lashley be forced to tap out early and the champion able to reach the bottom rope?
Listen, man, I predicted Kurt Angle would win this match. It's no disrespect on Lashley. I have mad respect for Lashley. I consider him a good friend of mine. But the thing is, I just feel like Kurt is just locked in right now. Since being out of the ring for so long and since his time back, coming up with knee operation, the whole 9 yards, I feel like Kurt is just like another second win for him. I just feel like it's there for him right now.
Giving up 44 pounds, you don't think that's a huge disadvantage for Kurt?
It's big. I mean, yeah, it's definitely huge. And probably several inches in height also. I mean, so, see, smart by Lashley. He's going to kind of pick his spots and dictate the pace of this match. Lashley's hurt, I think, after those suplexes or something.
Perhaps the ankle lock doing damage as well to Lashley. Kurt Angle, though, shoulder first off of that steel guardrail.
There's those 44 pounds advantage that you were just referencing for Lashley.
Kurt Angle, the challenger, needs to get this match back into the ring. That's the only way that Kurt can become champion here tonight, by pinfall or submission inside the ring.
Well, most of the times referees will have a little bit more, be a little more lenient when it's for the World Heavyweight title. I think we're seeing that here in regards to a count-out situation. You don't want the championship to be retained or given up via count-out. That's kind of a stink fest, in my opinion. Referee Brian Hebner, well-versed in refereeing multiple main events in his career, like his dad. So he's the perfect guy to ref this thing, in my opinion.
Lashley back into the ring, giving no separation to Angle, covered by Lashley, and Kurt once again right at 2, able to kick out.
Again, first time ever for these two warriors. Great to see, I'll tell you, man. Great opportunity to call this thing. A lot of fun. Maybe I should rethink my prediction here. I don't know. Kurt's not doing too good.
Yeah, Lashley was able to weather the early storm of Kurt Angle. You saw the power come into play early, and then Kurt was able to turn things around with that beautiful belly-to-belly suplex. Lashley, with one of his own, floats over. Vertical suplex there, but able to float over.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the transition that Lashley made from pro wrestling into MMA back to pro wrestling. We've never seen Kurt Angle do that. And I think it was during the era of his prime, his career. MMA wasn't as popular. But I think everybody always thought, I know when I was in WWE with Kurt Angle and all these we traveled and trained together, we'll talk about it as it got popular. And I think it's something that Kurt probably, everybody knows, would have flourished at, would have been amazing at, especially with his international wrestling ability. But it just never happened. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's not too late. You never know.
And Kurt Angle tonight, though, is fully focused on becoming TNA World Champion. Lashley, again, the power game, and a kick out once again by Angle, but you can really see what Lashley brought here tonight. He wants to wear down Angle.
And it's working. He's got that arm locked up. He's got the forearm, see the elbow right behind the head. Kind of like a key lock version there, and he's controlling Kurt's left wing. I'm sorry, right wing, how am I doing? But, it's smart to try and eliminate an arm. I would have stuck to the leg game plan, but because of the knee injury that Kurt has, the surgically repaired knee, I should say, that Kurt had.
The longer this match goes, who does it benefit, Lashley or Kurt Angle? Because you said earlier, hey, Kurt Angle, he doesn't get paid by the hour, and it looks like Lashley's in it for the long haul.
I think it benefits Lashley the longer this thing goes. I really do. And let's be frank, Lashley's a little bit younger, okay? His body's not as beat up as all the years of injuries that Kurt's had. You know, I just think that Lashley's been on a reign of terror the past several months, as we've seen. He's bust through everybody, man. He don't care about nothing. He just wants to fight and defend his title. And that his cardio's been amazing. So I think it benefits the champ the longer it goes.
Kurt Angle's career has been amazing. TNA Triple Crown winner, two-time Division I Collegiate National Champion. Kurt Angle has pretty much done it all and continues to fire on all cylinders, wants to do more, does the Olympic gold medalist.
Well, Kurt Angle wrestled in college at a school called Clarion, which is in Pennsylvania.
Hold on, German suplex again.
And he was a straight-up stud there, known as a great wrestling program as Clarion. And Kurt Angle, probably the best ever out of there. Kurt Angle doing it big, though, right now, man. Big German suplexes again on Lashley.
That was a trifecta, 3 more German suplexes from Angle to Lashley. Where does Kurt Angle get his endurance from? Looking for the Angle slam. Lashley pops free, and nice spine buster from Lashley. Cover, hooks the leg, and Angle somehow kicks out at 2.
You gotta wonder that spine buster, what did it do to Angle? You know, many operations, surgically repaired neck of Kurt Angle, and a spine buster affects that thing big time.
Is Lashley thinking spear? Is Lashley thinking this one's over?
Oh man, he's in the zone, buddy.
And Angle sidesteps Lashley, and the challenger again, another German suplex.
I mean, it's got to be up to a total of what, 10 Germans in this match? You know, these take a lot out of the guy giving the German too, by the way. Lashley's really landing hard.
Angle looking for his 4th consecutive German suplex. Hands are still locked. Angle's still firmly in control.
So hard to do what he's doing, especially to a guy the size of Lashley. Freaking Kurt Angle, the guy's just an animal, man. I'm telling you.
And Angle looking ankle lock for the 2nd time in this match.
He's got it on.
Angle looking to cinch in here on the world champion. And there he goes. Will Lashley tap out?
The challenger is in control. America's golden boy, Kurt Angle in control.
And Lashley able to fight off. Lashley avoiding, and this time, Lashley relying on his power. And the power slam. Angle hard into the canvas. Leg is hooked, and Kurt Angle kicks out once again. What a match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Lashley and Kurt Angle. And Lashley shoulder first into the steel post as we welcome everyone back. Kurt Angle, schoolboy, looking to become champion into the ankle lock.
Nicely done. Schoolboy into that ankle lock. That was very well done by Angle.
And for the 3rd time in this match, Lashley is at the mercy of Kurt Angle.
Well, let me teach you something here. Everybody out there, big foot, big long legs by Lashley. The bigger his foot is, the more foot there is to grab in that ankle lock.
And Lashley rolls through Angle. Head hard off the turnbuckle. Ladies and gentlemen, we have taken our final commercial break. We are with you for the entirety of this TNA World Heavyweight Championship match.
These guys are working hard. The drip is pouring off the champion right now. The sweat, I should say, pouring off the champion.
Lashley looking spear. Angle counters with the knee. Angle slam. Angle rolls over. We're going to have a new champion. Lashley kicks out at 2. That shin of Kurt Angle coming into play, countering the spear of Lashley.
That Angle slam was impressive. Both of these men could see the fatigue levels hitting them because all of the energy and the physicality they're putting on each other.
Oh! High back elbow, clothesline by Lashley again. Going back to the power game. The wheelhouse of Lashley.
Lashley's smart, is not rushing into anything. He's paying, he's taking his time, but he's got himself a nice delayed vertical suplex there. hard lander, man. Hard lander for the challenger.
A lot of powerful moves throughout this match from Lashley.
That's his game, buddy. That's his game, man.
Lashley again thinking spear.
He's gonna run right through Angle here, buddy. He is gonna run right through Kurt with this spear. You can see Lashley setting up.
And there's the spear!
I knew it. You could see it was coming.
And Lashley is on his way to retaining the championship. Did he get him? He got him!
I think he got him. He didn't get him. He didn't get him.
Referee Brian Hebner, who had the best vantage point, was in the perfect spot, said Angle got the shoulder up at 2.
I don't know how. Man, that was some shot right there with that spear. What impact, what a hit. Wow, by Lashley.
What is Lashley doing here? I mean, clearly Lashley's gonna ascend to the top rope.
Yeah, don't worry about this guy's some kind of athlete. He's not exactly climbing up there too gingerly, I'll tell you that though, buddy.
Kurt Angle. How many times have we seen Angle do this in his career, thrown off though by Lashley?
Lashley looks like he's thinking about doing something up these ropes, but he should just do it already.
278 pounds comes up empty.
Can you imagine getting hit by that guy?
That would have been the end of the match.
Holy smokes. Shows the athleticism that Lashley has, the way he flew off those ropes as far as he went. Kurt Angle's trying to pull from underneath, man. He's trying to suck it up right here.
Kurt Angle up, and now Angle has aspirations of high flying. And Kurt Angle with the crossbody. Lashley absorbs, rolls through.
Got himself an ankle lock.
And will Kurt Angle tap out?
Well done by Lashley. Much to the chagrin of the live audience there at Wembley Arena, but I'll tell you what, I was impressed with that. Angle might tap on his own hold.
Is Kurt Angle seconds away from tapping out? Is Lashley seconds away from retaining the TNA World Heavyweight Championship?
Got that ankle lock in real good, does Lashley.
And Angle makes his way to the bottom rope. Lashley has 5 seconds to break, and he does.
You want to grab those extra 5 seconds to maybe tear a tendon or a ligament in that ankle. Every second that holds on, it's excruciating.
Kurt Angle trying not to put too much weight on the ankle. He's back up, and Angle, look at Angle slam again. Where does he get the strength? Cover, Lashley down, and Kurt Angle was that close to becoming world champion.
Josh, how physical is this match?
Lashley held on.
Sure did. He's trying to go for an armbar, maybe like a Juji Katami, which is, yeah, it is, like what some call a cross arm breaker. It's a jiu-jitsu hold. Totally pulls your bicep apart. Got to grip his own hand, does Kurt. Got to try and grip his own hand or roll towards Lashley to alleviate that stretch of the bicep.
How smart for Lashley to position himself between Angle and the ropes.
Very smart. Can't get to the rope to break it, but Kurt used his face and head, kept the pressure on the leg, broke the hold. Look at this guy.
Wow!
That is just freaking subhuman. I'm telling you what he just did.
And Lashley pulled back into the center of the ring. Kurt Angle has the ankle lock fully cinched in.
Why has no one ever booked these two guys against each other until now? This is crazy. What a match.
Where were you on March 20th when Kurt Angle went one-on-one with Lashley for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship?
He's in trouble. Lashley's in trouble. A champ. He's caught up, man. He can't even move with that leg bar. Leg scissor, grapevine completely with the ankle lock.
Lashley may pass out. Lashley may pass out from the pain.
He's hanging on. He's
Lashley tapped out.
He tapped.
Kurt Angle won.
Holy crap.
The winner of the match and new World Heavyweight Champion, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle is now 6-time TNA World Champion. The Hall of Famer is champion. The Angle era is real.
What a match. First off, congratulations to Kurt Angle. As far as world championships, that's his 14th time of being a world heavyweight champion. And the emotion is taking over. America's pride in Kurt Angle. But tip your cap to Lashley. He had no choice but to tap, man. There's no shame in tapping. He was caught. You gotta live to fight another day. He could not get out of the grapevine around that leg and the ankle lock. There was no way for him to get out, Josh. He had to tap. He had to tap.
Earlier tonight, Kurt Angle called Lashley the most dominant wrestler in the history of TNA. And tonight, Kurt Angle has bested Lashley for the TNA World title.
That's what it's about. Mad respect for each other. Two tremendous, phenomenal wrestlers. What a match. Congrats to both men and the world champion, the new world champion.
So let's take everyone back and show everyone how this unfolded. In the early goings, it was the power of Lashley that was in control.
Yeah, we saw that early going. I mean, and it was a kind of a back and forth thing a little bit. But then Kurt Angle was able to hit these German suplexes early in the match, which surprised me. And he kept going back to the suplexes, too.
And Lashley at some point was able to deliver the spear. We thought it was over here, and somehow Angle was able to go on.
That spear, as you saw, was insane. I thought he had Kurt. So did you. We thought he lost, but nuh-uh.
Kurt Angle would go for the fourth ankle lock, and you said he grapevine the leg. That means he used his legs, right?
Exactly, and you just immobilize your opponent, as we're looking at right here. We're seeing Lashley's immobilized. He can't go anywhere, Josh. He doesn't want to tap. His pride's hanging on, but he had no choice. He had to tap as we relinquish his title.
Kurt Angle has done it all. The TNA Hall of Famer is now TNA World Heavyweight Champion. What an emotional night for Kurt Angle.
I predicted him to win. I'm not putting myself over, but I'm still shocked that he won. You know what I mean? Like, just all the years Kurt's been in the ring, all the injuries he's been through, all the ups and downs in his personal life, but yet he stands in the middle of the ring in a six-sided ring, looking at his new TNA World Heavyweight title. I'm so happy for Kurt Angle on a personal level. I do kind of feel bad for Lashley, too, because the dude got caught and he couldn't get out. I've been there. I know what that's like, and it sucks. But you know what? If you're going to lose your title to anyone, why not Kurt Angle?
Lashley will have another opportunity, many opportunities down the road for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. You can't help but think about what happened about a month ago. No one knew the future of Kurt Angle. Now he's TNA World Champion.
And what a night this was, Josh. This was a sick night.
You're not kidding, partner. We want to thank everyone for joining us. Kurt Angle is your world champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is your Slammiversary main event for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, with the winner to be determined by knockout or tap out. Introducing, first of all, the challenger. Weighing in at 272 pounds and coming to us from Denver, Colorado, he is the Destroyer, Lashley. And now, introducing his opponent from Ayr, Scotland, weighing in at 255 pounds. He is the current reigning, defending TNA Heavyweight Champion of the World, Drew Galloway.
17-pound weight advantage for the challenger Lashley. Partner, let's talk about the stipulation for this World Championship match. The stipulation set by our president, Dixie Carter. It's tap out or knockout. How does that play into the mindset and the strategy first of Lashley?
Well, I mean, when you talk about that, partner, you have to think about the fact that you're dealing with an MMA superstar in Lashley who is familiar.
Oh, and the Claymore!
Off the back!
The Claymore! And Lashley's down!
How smart! How smart was that of Drew Galloway?
Wow! Right out of the box! Lashley,
He's got Drew Galloway, potential submission maneuver here. You can see he went for that schoolboy. Shoulders were down, but it's knockout or tap out. And Lashley quickly transitioned into this submission maneuver.
And that's what Lashley's familiar with.
Oh, and a powerful clothesline.
Jeez. You know, you would have to think that the advantage of this, though, this matchup with the stipulations in place by President Dixie Carter, it plays to Lashley's advantage in public's opinion. This is familiar territory for Lashley.
Trying to think back, I don't think we've ever seen either one of these men knocked out.
Exactly. And I don't think we will see it here tonight, but who knows? These two have done everything to each other.
And Drew Galloway, he's got a submission maneuver that he talked about earlier. Look at this. Look at Lashley then on his feet. Avoid any harm there.
Yeah.
The Iron Maiden, the move that Drew Galloway used to force Kurt Angle to tap out.
And you know what? It's a credible move. You tap out Kurt Angle, you can tap out anybody. Look at Lashley.
Goes up and over in a powerful clothesline. Rocks the champion. Lashley can use any sort of submission. He can catch anything on Drew Galloway. Lashley also loves to use a rear naked choke.
Yeah, and we've seen him put that on many opponents. When he put it on Drew Galloway here tonight, you can probably look to see that.
Right now, though, Lashley trying to use his power advantage on Drew Galloway. Have you ever seen someone with so much heart in Drew Galloway?
Oh, absolutely not. You know, a lot of people have heart. You know, we've seen a lot of people come in with a lot of heart, but there's something about Drew Galloway that makes his heart special.
And it's infectious.
Absolutely. Contagious.
You can feel it whenever you talk to Drew Galloway, how much he truly loves professional wrestling and Lashley. So quick.
And you know what Lashley's doing? He's softening up that midsection, that rib cage and area, because he wants that spear at some point as well.
And now a torture rack of sorts here by Lashley. Galloway quickly gets out. Now Galloway trying to spin and twist. And now the Iron Maiden.
He locked it in.
The Iron Maiden by Drew Galloway. Lashley quickly rolls around and now trying to break down the guard of the world champion.
Yeah. Lashley just spun out of it and came with some clubbing forearms, just raining him down upon the champ.
The Iron Maiden, is it a move that once you're in it for a couple of seconds, damage can be done, or is it something where, prolonged effect from being in it longer?
Absolutely.
Wear you down.
And more importantly, the more you go back
there
to
it
it,
again.
Yeah, the more effective it's going to be. And that's what the champion Drew Galloway is doing right here. I don't think he realistically thinks there's going to be a submission from Lashley this early, but he wants to wear him down. Look at the torque on the shoulder. Look at the shoulder of Lashley.
You see the shoulder of Lashley. Drew Galloway came in with a brilliant plan. He delivered the Claymore kick. Right off the bat, the first move in this match was just a bang, a shot there by Drew Galloway.
It only takes one blow to knock you out, and that could have been the one.
And Lashley again going back to the power game, trying to rely on that advantage.
Spear. There it is. There it is.
The Destroyer connects. Partner, I know you know how that feels. A spear by Lashley.
Absolutely, Pope knows how it feels. Many people around here knows how it feels in Impact Wrestling, but there's somebody who knows it far too well, and that's Drew Galloway, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
This rivalry has been building for quite some time. Drew Galloway, he wanted to fight Lashley on a few occasions, and Lashley would say, I'm going to do this on my time. Yeah, I'm going to do this when I want to do it. Lashley is so calculating. It's the polar opposite of what Drew Galloway is. Galloway is emotional, and he wants to go. And Lashley, no, I'm going to wait.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You call him the Destroyer. We know that tag is on Lashley. He's a destroyer. He's calculated. He's calculating everything that he does.
You know, it was a year ago that I started calling Drew Galloway the captain, and it's because Drew Galloway was the captain of Team Impact.
And he's also a leader. And
it's a name that's stuck.
Absolutely. Well, you know, Pope called him Leonidas, and I'm going to stay with that to the day I can't say it anymore. Because it's quite simple. Whether it's an army of 300 or an army of one, and trust me, Lashley is an army of one. Drew Galloway is not going to back down. He's going to bring the fight with everything that he has.
And you can see how close Lashley is staying to Drew Galloway. No space, no separation. And even in these tight quarters, Lashley is so dangerous.
Absolutely. One thing about Lashley, much like in boxing, nice counter by Drew Galloway.
And an overhead belly-to-belly suplex.
Like a double underhook.
Partner, go back to your point. I want to hear the end of that.
Absolutely. What I was going to say is when it comes to boxing, poke-nose boxing, Lashley's MMA, when you talk about those close corners, how he keeps himself in close proximity of his opponent, he uses the hip. He torques and turns himself with the hip. That's where the power comes from when he throws his punches and his blows.
Does it take the height away from Drew being so close like that?
Absolutely.
And now, cross arm breaker coming. Lashley trying to connect here. Drew Galloway's got to keep his hands locked or he's going to be in some serious trouble.
Galloway's fighting it.
Galloway rolled inside. And now Drew Galloway. Oh, wow.
Boot straight to the... Good Lord. Straight was it to the eye?
Yeah. Look at the eye starting to swell, starting to shut up, actually.
It's bleeding.
Close up, yeah.
Straight to the eye.
I think it was the heel of the boot from Galloway. And now you're going to have...
Oh, man. Blurred vision.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for Lashley to see now in that eye.
Partner, again, one of two things can happen when you see your own blood start to trickle down your face, and we may see what Lashley has here.
Yeah.
Oh!
And he might get pissed off as well.
Oh!
You know, a lot of people, they see blood, man. They see red. They become incensed.
Or you can retreat. We'll see what happens. And Lashley!
A dominating spine buster there by Lashley the Destroyer.
World champion is down. Lashley in control right now. It was a desperate kick by Galloway, and now delayed vertical.
Suplex by the Destroyer.
And now look at Lashley. Just stalking Drew Galloway. Galloway, he's going to get up, but he has no idea what's waiting for him.
Look at that. Lashley did the right thing that time. He did not wait for Drew Galloway to turn around. He saw that Drew Galloway was about to turn and he went in so that he could be there and meet him with that ferocious blow.
And now both men up on the second rope is Lashley. Just a clubbing shot there.
That was a haymaker, looked like it grazed him, but effective nonetheless.
Lashley looking for a super. Oh, look at that! What a reversal by Drew Galloway. That was brute strength.
Drew Galloway flies through the air, connects with that clothesline off the top rope.
You can only win by tap out or knockout. Referee Brian Hedger has started the count on Lashley. He's at 3. Lashley will make it back to his feet. And Galloway with another Claymore kick.
He made it back to his feet, only to get kicked down again by the champ.
I can't count him. He's on his feet. He's on his feet.
You can hear Brian Hedger saying, I can't count him. He's on his feet. And that's true. Lashley is up. The rope's helping him. Staying on his feet, and a back elbow there by the challenger. Oh, another! Oh, what a spear!
That was just desperation on Lashley's behalf. Drew Galloway was picking up steam, partner, and he did the right thing. Lashley did the right thing, yeah.
Referee Brian Hedger is at 5. Who will make it to their feet first? Can either man get up after what we've seen? Lashley to one knee. Drew Galloway right behind him. Oh! Thunderous chop. And Lashley, he's got him. Lashley had Drew Galloway locked up there. Galloway fights free. Oh! And another running boot, and Lashley all the way to the floor.
Let me tell you something, with the height and the weight of the champion Drew Galloway, when he throws a boot, he really throws it, and it hurts. Talk about damage.
Drew Galloway going after Lashley here on the outside. Lashley has become such a changed man over the past number of months. He's so dangerous in or outside of the ring. Remember the brawl in the gym these two had as Lashley.
Lashley has always been a dangerous competitor. He's always been a dangerous man. He just took it to a whole new level. Took the rule book, threw it out, and said he's just going to do what he wants to do and nobody's going to stop him.
See the look in the eyes of Lashley here. He wants to become world champion. Reversal by Galloway. And this time Lashley goes shoulder first into the steel steps. Lashley down, writhing in pain. Drew Galloway now starting to build some momentum.
Saw that Lashley readjusted that head, man.
Galloway looking for a Celtic cross.
Oh, no.
A Celtic cross on the steel steps.
That has to be it. Lashley's out.
Think about the spine of Lashley going into the steel steps. One more look if you can take this. Oh
man. He's stopping the count. This could. He stopped it.
Drew Galloway wants to inflict. Oh, Galloway having in mind now. Lashley is on the steel steps.
Oh wow. I think I know what's going on here, partner. Drew Galloway grew up idolizing Bret the Hitman Hart. That was his favorite wrestler. And you know what? Even to this day now, Bret Hart often talks about Drew Galloway and says nothing but great things about him. Maybe a little tribute there.
The sharpshooter on the steel steps. It was broken up by referee Brian Hebner, but how much damage was done as Galloway delivers another Claymore kick.
And think about it. You hit the, what was that? The thing on the steps you put Lashley
Celtic cross.
You hit the Celtic cross, right? Let's see a replay of this right here. Look at the boot. Straight to the matchmaker of Lashley. So you hit the Celtic cross, then you put on a sharpshooter to take out the legs, and then you hit him again with a claymore on the outside of the ring. That's keep you from getting up.
And now you have a table. Now the world champion with the table outside the ring.
This may be an exclamation point.
Lashley made it back to his feet. Lashley was up momentarily, so the count stopped as Drew Galloway, I don't think, was expecting Lashley not to get up. He continued to go with his game plan and go after a table.
Right. What is that game plan? What does Drew Galloway have in mind for Lashley right now?
Lashley up on the table here. We've seen so much tonight at Slammiversary. And now you've got the challenger for the World Championship on a table at ringside in a match that has to end in knockout or tap out.
We've seen a lot of crazy things here tonight.
Oh, boy.
And the champion is saying that he is going to fly.
At 6'7", 255 pounds, Drew Galloway! Crash and burn through the table! Drew Galloway put it all on the line with this.
Look at Drew Galloway fly over the top rope like Superman! But he crashed at it. He crashed hard.
Lashley says start the count. Brian Hebner at 3. Now at 5, and we're halfway to crowning a new world champion. Lashley broke the count to deliver more offense.
Well, that's a smart thing to do, too. If your opponent is moving, he has the opportunity to get up.
Yeah, it looked like Drew was going to beat the count, and Lashley wanted to stop Drew Galloway from getting to his feet. And now Lashley delivering shots and forearms. Lashley says count him. Lashley says start the count. Brian Hebner now at 2. Lashley is inside the ring now. Drew Galloway still down on the outside. Brian Hebner quickly makes it to 5. Can Drew Galloway beat the count? Will the world champion be defeated? Now at 8, 2 seconds away. Galloway's up.
Oh, man.
A bloodied and battered world champion is up.
And he's seething right now, Daddy.
Drew rose from the wreckage of that busted table.
Oh my God, a headbutt to the eye of Lashley.
And now the world champion, Lashley caught him with an armbar.
Crossface.
Lashley's got Drew Galloway. Drew Galloway is going to tap out. Lashley pulling back. Galloway trying to get to his feet.
Lashley's leaning in, trying to keep him from getting up with the champ.
Galloway's up. Galloway's got Lashley.
Tombstone power driver back. Galloway.
That's it. That's got to do it. Brian Hebner starts to count. Champion and challenger are down.
I don't know if he got all of it the way he wanted to. Talking about Galloway.
Listen to this place.
The champion.
Drew's up. Lashley's still down. The count will continue.
And he's looking. He's summoning it. He's calling for it.
Claymore sidestepped. Big shot by Lashley.
Big right hand.
That's Lashley. He's got another submission maneuver. Drew Galloway is fading. Look at Lashley. Look at the torque.
Yeah.
The arm is trapped. The head is trapped. And the world champion is out. The world champion is out.
Lashley's in.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match and new TNA World Champion, the Destroyer, Lashley.
It had to end in tap out or knockout. And Drew Galloway was in a submission maneuver, but he was knocked out before he could tap out. And Lashley, the Destroyer, is a 3-time world champion.
Lashley caught him with that big right hand, knocked out the champion, sort of speaking, then he followed in. And once he put the clutch on, once he clamped down, cut off the blood, cut off the oxygen, the champion was done.
The doctor's in the ring now as they take a look at the now former world champion Drew Galloway. Lashley standing tall with the world championship. What does every other member of the roster now think? That Lashley is the world champion.
2 words, Daddy, and I just gotta borrow this phrase where they're saying, who's next? Is it me?
A valiant effort. As we take another look, Galloway was looking for a Claymore. It was sidestepped, and what a punch, what a shot, a knockout blow.
Unbelievable.
And then you can see Lashley, the arm was trapped there. Drew Galloway, and that lean forward right there, lean back. And that was it.
Cut off the blood flow. You cut off the blood flow, you cut off the oxygen, you cut off the oxygen.
Brian Hebner was there to stop it right there. He saw that Galloway was fading and the eyes were rolling in the back of his head. Brian Hebner said, that's it. This match is over. The Lashley era is upon us. The era of the Destroyer. It's a whole new world with Lashley now our world champion.
Sorry about your damn luck.
I'm a creek swimming, moonshine sipping.
In October of 2011, James Storm defeated Kurt Angle to win his only world championship. A standout collegiate basketball player with scholarship offers to the University of Alabama and other SEC schools. Storm has been an impact star since day one. 7-time TNA World Tag Team Champion, one-time World Champion, the current reigning King of the Mountain Champion. He is the bearded outlaw. He is the Cowboy, James Storm.
Cowboy looking good, title all shined up, and he's looking to add some more shine, if you will, to his waist.
So don't be judging me.
Championship. He is the X Division champion, the unstoppable juggernaut of force, human kryptonite with a 14-2 MMA record, a man who can snap Conor McGregor in half. This is Lashley.
The tank that moves like a race car is looking to move just a little bit quicker, a little further ahead, if you will, because he wants to obtain and make history here tonight by holding all of the gold.
It is a history-making night. Lashley is collecting championships. He's the world champion. He's the X Division champion. Will he become the King of the Mountain champion? Live tonight on Impact on Pop. We send things now inside our six-sided ring to Jeremy Morash for in-ring introductions.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is your main event of the evening for all of the championship gold. Introducing first, standing in the corner to my left, he weighed in at 231 pounds and comes to us from Leapers Fork, Tennessee. He is the current reigning King of the Mountain champion, the Cowboy, James Storm.
And Lashley's not waiting. Lashley, the world champion, the X Division champion, not waiting. Getting after James Storm here. Brian Hender's telling JB, you gotta get out of the ring. Oh! He hit the last call! The last call for Storm! He's got the cover! Brian Hender calls for the bell! Wait, and a kick out! The bell rang! James Storm wanted Brian Hender to be there for the call. Brian was trying to get JB out of the ring.
But James Storm had Lashley down for a 3 count.
Oh, and now a big clothesline. I told you what Lashley can win here tonight. He can add to his collection, but it could all go away as well. And James Storm, the Cowboy, could become world and X Division champion here tonight in titles versus title.
Well, the Cowboy James Storm certainly is capable of getting the job done against Lashley, but Lashley himself is one to be reckoned with.
James Storm talked earlier about this being his opportunity. It's the first time in 5 years that he's challenged in a one-on-one match for the world title. Storm, very reminiscent of how he won the championship the first time. Had the last call loaded up, delivered it to Lashley. Oh! And Lashley kicked out the big clothesline there.
Nice defense, nice offense. James Storm is on the top of his game, and Lashley has been floored, literally.
He knew that Storm would be focused for this match. Lashley knew it. He tried to get a jump on James Storm. Didn't wait for his in-ring introduction. But right now, James Storm has weathered just that from Lashley.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Lashley, I don't care how great, and trust me, Lashley is great. He's awesome. He is the man, but no one is going to take the former champion, Cowboy James Storm, lightly. If you do, you're in for a rude awakening.
You mentioned former champions, also former world champions, Hall of Famers, Kurt Angle and Sting, and Jeff Hardy and Chris Sabin and Rob Van Dam and EC3. They've all held the prestigious world championship that Lashley now possesses and that James Storm desperately wants here. Our main event, live on Impact on Pop, and Lashley set all the way to the other side of the ring, right out here in front of us. James Storm in the red and white trunks, Lashley in the black and yellow.
Yeah, man, when you're the world champion, you are the man.
Lashley right out here in front of us. Lashley standing here.
Whoa. Oh, jeez. I mean, you can grab anybody, but don't touch the little pull-up. Use anything as a weapon that you want.
James Storm is trying to build momentum. James Storm is looking to win titles versus title. Who will earn the victory? Find out after this. We have taken our final commercial break as we welcome everyone back to Impact on Pop Live tonight. This is titles versus title. It is Lashley defending the World Championship and the X Division Championship against the King of the Mountain champion, James Storm.
Lashley was able to turn the ties during the commercial break, drop James Storm into the hard guardrail, and it has been Lashley ever since.
Lashley now. This is where he's so comfortable, so quick, so powerful.
Talk about powerful. That was a powerful right hand by Lashley. Good grief.
When Lashley smells blood in the water, he is so dangerous.
Well, he's like a shark. And he's not like any type of shark. This Bobby Lashley. Lashley is like a great white shark. And if there ain't no blood, he's going to draw blood.
Lashley building momentum here. 6'3", 272 pounds. The unstoppable juggernaut of force. And James Storm trying to build separation. Leapfrog from the world champion. And he's got Storm up. Look at the strength and power of Lashley.
What a tilt-to-wall body slam by Bobby Lashley. Good grief. What power. Lashley may be the most powerful competitor there is here at Impact Wrestling. Without a doubt.
Cover here by Lashley and a kick out.
1, 2, 3.
James Storm is no lightweight by any comparison. Lashley just hoisted him up, turned him around, and just drove him straight to the
When you look at James Storm and what he's done in this match, at the very beginning of it, James Storm delivered the last call. He went for the cover. He had Lashley down. He thought he had the match. James Storm got back into this, but for Storm, I mean, the emotions of what he's experiencing have got to be talked about here and what Storm is doing.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. I both agree with you 100%. You know, I still go back and my mind is replaying what happened in the beginning. And Cowboy had Lashley down for what, 5-6 seconds?
Well,
5.5.
I think at some point we're going to have to look at the replay of what transpired at the very beginning of this match. This match that is still going on right now, titles versus title. Lashley versus the Cowboy James Storm. Storm won the King of the Mountain Championship from Eli Drake. The celebration was short-lived. Lashley came out and said, you want to make history? Let's make history. Let's go titles versus title. Nice neck breaker there. Cover here by Lashley. Doesn't hook the leg and a kick out by the Cowboy James Storm.
As Pope said earlier in the show, regardless of what happened, one way or the other, history will be made here tonight. No doubt in that.
Mentioned earlier, we are 51 nights away from Bound for Glory. Live exclusively on pay-per-view. Who will be the world champion? And you got to know that somewhere EC3 is watching this match very closely, as EC3 will be challenging for the world championship at Bound for Glory, unless EC3 takes Drew Galloway up on what he offered earlier and puts that opportunity on the line. So much happening here.
Look at this. Look at this. Lashley with the delayed standing vertical suplex. Insides turned out.
And now Lashley, he will wait for James Storm to get back to his feet, and Lashley will look for a devastating spear. Storm,
poised and waiting.
Here he comes, and Storm steps out of the way, and James Storm.
Calf wrangler by Storm.
He got him. Lashley's down. Turning point in the match here.
This might be the opening that Storm needed.
Both men back to their feet. Here comes James Storm, and Lashley overpowers him. Storm, big shot to the back of the head.
Back in goes Storm on the move.
And Lashley, cross body. Storm down. Lashley, another cover, another kick out.
I think that was desperation, pure desperation on the part of Lashley, just to try to slow down Storm, because you don't see Lashley use a crossbody hardly ever.
And now you see Lashley again sizing up the Cowboy. The bearded outlaw back to his feet. Lashley thrown up, and James Storm capitalizes.
That crock about James Storm. He's standing on him.
Storm in hot pursuit, looking for the eye of the Storm.
He has Lashley up. Can he go through with it?
Strength being shown here by James Storm.
He connects with it.
We're going to have a new World and X Division champion here. Lashley gets on it too.
How close was that?
Half a second away was James Storm.
Again, strength being shown by Storm as well. The champion resilient enough to kick out. And this man match continue.
Yes, Storm sort of lets it set in here. He makes eyes with the official Brian Hebner, and James Storm will go back to work quickly, not giving Lashley much of a reprieve here. Reversal by the world champion. Storm goes up and over. James Storm, waistlock here. Lashley trying to hang on. Strength versus strength. The top turnbuckle pulled off. Lashley down. Lashley and Storm goes face first at the exposed turnbuckle.
And there's a domination by Lashley.
Tremendous move by Lashley. Stays on his feet, back in the corner now. Stalking his prey is the world champion. Eyeing up James Storm for a devastating spear. He got him, and Lashley needs to go for the cover. Hooks the leg on James Storm, and Lashley was that close. A kick out by the Cowboy.
It's not over. It's not over. Storm reaching way down. The kick out. It's not over. Listen to the fans of the Impact Zone go crazy.
They've known James Storm for well over a decade. One of the originals who just kicked out of the spear from the world champion, who leaves tonight with all the gold.
Lashley's telling Storm to stay down. I don't think that's going to happen.
Storm has to dig deep here as he's trying to get back to his feet. Lashley yelling, this is it. Headbutt by Storm. Last call. He got him twice. He got him again. World champion. World champion. Lashley kicks out.
Sweet mother of Moses, what is going on? Two last calls. Quick cover. Lashley was still able to kick out. I think the fans just are going crazy here. This is nuts.
It doesn't get any closer than that. James Storm looks shocked that Lashley kicked out of not one but two last calls.
I was almost out of my seat. I thought it was over with. Both men sweating profusely here.
And now it's Storm sizing up Lashley, looking for another last call. Thrown off by Lashley, misses with the clothesline.
Round floor.
Lashley rocked to the ropes. A spear by the world champion. And Storm's down. Lashley with the cover. And Lashley is now World X and King of the Mountain champion.
The winner of the match, and still World and X Division champion and new King of the Mountain champion, Lashley.
The man wants to make history. And Lashley now has 3 championships. He retains the world title. He retains the X Division championship. And now he can add King of the Mountain champion to his already impressive resume. Can anyone stop Lashley?
That remains to be seen. He appears to be unstoppable right now. This Lashley, there's a first time for everything. Feast your eyes upon the screen.
Whoa.
Oh man, look at this.
The man who debuted earlier, Aaron Rex.
And you know what he has his eyes set on.
Aaron Rex spoke passionately earlier tonight about doing it his way, about wanting to win the world championship. Lashley may hold all the gold, but Aaron Rex has arrived to Impact Wrestling.
The following contest is an Iron Man match for the TNA World Championship. Introducing first the challenger, weighing in at 278 pounds from Denver, Colorado. This is Lashley.
When you think about an Iron Man match, 30 minutes to test your endurance, the ultimate endurance test. They don't happen very often. I don't think I've ever called one in my career here in Impact Wrestling. Lashley is going to test himself for 30 minutes while he tries to outdo the current champion, Eddie Edwards. It's a test of will. He's had to be thinking about this for the last 7 nights. Can you go for 30 minutes?
And now, introducing his opponent from Boston, Massachusetts, weighing in at 224 pounds, he is the TNA World Champion, Eddie Edwards!
There's only been 7 Iron Man matches in Impact Wrestling history. The first saw AJ Styles go one-on-one with Christopher Daniels. That was in 2005. Fast forward to here tonight. Eddie Edwards, all set to defend his World Championship. It's almost like the Iron Man matches talked about in whispers. You want to do it, you think you can do it, and then you have to get in the ring and prove it.
Yeah, because it's a completely different ball game, obviously, because of the time, and also because there's numerous pinfalls that can take place, and your opponent can exert you can exert him, and man, the fatigue starts to set in.
And it's all about that. 16 pounds of gold, the World's Championship. 30 minutes will be on the clock. Whoever earns the most pinfalls and submissions combined will leave here tonight as the world champion. Settle in, folks. 30 minutes, here we go. How do you pace yourself in a match like this?
Well, you know what? In this type of environment, man, you don't want to go full speed out the gate because, again, there are several pinfalls that can take place. So you just kind of want to keep a safe distance, but be ready to react, counter. You don't necessarily have to be so aggressive.
Lashley with a leapfrog there, a clothesline in the center of the ring. Lashley taking his time.
And that's the right thing to do in this match.
And now, the former 3-time world champion, the #1 contender who defeated EC3 in a last man standing match, delivers a delayed vertical suplex, and he is now waiting and stalking, keeping his eyes on the world champion.
And Lashley may be poised right now to go for a spear.
Eddie Edwards wisely went to the buckle and a back elbow there by the challenger. Oh! Big boot there by Eddie Edwards.
Now, Eddie don't necessarily have to go out, but he did!
Eddie Edwards flies!
And there's a shot of caffeine delivered to Lashley.
World Championship on the line here in an Iron Man matchup. Eddie Edwards delivers a big shot to Lashley, to the outside. And now, listen to that. Shot. Thunderous chop from Eddie Edwards.
Those chops will knock the wind out of your sails. It'll leave you stinging. It'll leave you bruised. Listen.
Oh! Lashley will be feeling those chops as this match goes on and on. An Iron Man matchup. And Lashley, look at this. Oh! Eddie Edwards puts on the brakes. Oh! Lashley goes head first off the steel steps. Oh!
Third time's a charm. No, he's going for it again, maybe. The big one. You know one thing about the champion Eddie Edwards, he's so competitive. He loves to get in the ring day in and day out, defend the championship title. He loves to prove himself to be the very best. And he doesn't necessarily has to beat Lashley, and he has the advantage. Lashley still has to beat him.
Yeah, but Eddie Edwards wants to defeat Lashley. That's the fighting spirit inside the world champion. And Lashley! Sidewalk slam there. And Lashley, perhaps for the first cover, the first pinfall of this match. and a kick out by the world champion. Lashley's in control right now. Can he keep it going? The Iron Man match for the world championship continues after this. This is our main event for the World Championship, an Iron Man match between champion Eddie Edwards and the champion Lashley. No falls were earned during the break. It is still 0-0 between Lashley and Eddie Edwards. It was really back and forth during the break as well.
Yeah, it's gone either way thus far, or it hadn't gone either way thus far. But right now we see Eddie trying to gain momentum.
Lashley can quell that momentum so quickly. That's what makes the unstoppable juggernaut of force so dangerous. And Lashley got caught there by Eddie Edwards.
Oh! Spear delivered by Lashley.
Lashley now into the cover. Lashley hooks the outside leg, and Lashley has our first fall.
Lashley scores the pinfall. It's 1-0.
So now if you're Eddie Edwards, championship advantage gone.
Yeah.
You're in jeopardy.
Absolutely. And this is where that pacing comes in at, because now Eddie has to be a little more assertive. He has to be a little more energetic and show a sense of urgency.
And Lashley can play defense.
Absolutely.
Lashley can go into prevent mode, stay away from the champion, stick and move.
Best place to be.
This match has completely changed, and that's what happens in an Iron Man match. You saw a little bit of a rest for both champion and challenger in between the fall there. But with Lashley up 1-0, and as dominant as this man is, I don't want to say it's the death knell for Eddie Edwards. There's still plenty of time left, but your back's certainly against the wall.
Well, we've all come to know Mr. AIP. We know not to count out the champion time and time again. He has done the unthinkable.
Elapsed time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes remain in the match.
1/3 of this match is over with as Lashley goes for the cover and a kick out there by Eddie Edwards. The last thing that Eddie can have happen here is to go down 2-0 to Lashley.
Eddie goes down 2-0 to Lashley, and this thing is almost pretty much a done deal.
Change the nameplates on the championship. Yeah. Lashley now firmly in control. Eddie Edwards trying to get back to his feet, trying to fuel off of Wolves Nation. Under 20 minutes to go now, and a back elbow by Lashley.
Lashley, very confident right now, knows it. And you know what? He can be. He's up 1 pinfall.
See if Eddie Edwards can get back into this. Eddie Edwards can't go into panic mode. He's got to maintain, and he knew what he was getting into. 30-minute Iron Man match.
Yeah.
The first fall very important, but it doesn't necessarily take the championship away from Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, you know, Eddie Edwards knows that, you know, but again, in the back of your mind, when you're in that ring and you're in an Iron Man match and you go down, it kind of does something to you. It makes you wonder if you can get up. Can you get the advantage?
Lashley looking to become a 4-time world champion here tonight at Genesis. And Lashley showing the confidence that we've seen from him throughout, I would say the past year or so. And now Eddie Edwards, Blue Thunder Bomb. Eddie Edwards is trying to get back into this matchup.
Oh, that rocked Lashley a little bit. You can see Lashley not knowing exactly what's going on, trying to regain his composure here.
We've seen some great championship matchups so far here tonight. DJZ retained his X Division championship. Rosemary able to hang on to the Knockouts championship. Can Eddie Edwards retain the world title?
Lung blower from the second turnbuckle.
He's got Lashley stacked up in a kick out leg. Eddie Edwards floats over. Single leg Boston Crab.
Lashley's almost close enough to the ropes, but this could do it.
Can Eddie Edwards even things up in 1 fall apiece? Will Lashley tap out? Clawing and scratching his way, trying to get to the bottom rope.
Lashley's close. Well, that right there was all about positioning. And you know, again, Eddie floated over into that single leg Boston Crab, but the positioning, I think if he could have pulled him out to the middle of the ring, then maybe this could
but in this type of match, in an Iron Man match, how much damage was done? Eddie will get another chance.
Oh, jeez! How much damage was done? What, Daddy, look at that!
An overhead belly-to-belly suplex over the top rope.
Referee telling Lashley to keep it inside.
Somebody may need to come out here and check on Eddie Edwards. Somebody may need to check on the champion. He's clutching at his knee. He landed awkwardly. How else are you going to land when you get thrown over the top rope like that?
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I mean, Lashley's so dominant. I mean, just a destructive force.
You can't earn a fall on the outside of the ring. The further they get from the ring, the more time drips away and goes away in this Iron Man match. Lashley, he's got a perfect game plan right now.
I was going to say, you don't think Lashley's aware of that? Of course he is.
He'll take Eddie Edwards all the way to I-Drive here in Orlando. Get him away from the six-sided ring. And look at this. No! A power bomb on the entryway, on the ramp. One more look at this. Bounced off, and Eddie Edwards has not moved since.
Lashley powerbombed Eddie Edwards so hard, Eddie may think he's back in Boston right now.
Lashley back in the ring, and he can earn the second fall via countout.
I have no
That's
idea.
exactly what happened.
I have no idea how the champ's going to get back up and make it in time.
And referee Brian Hunter's letting Lashley know he's up 2-0.
The referee has counted out Eddie Edwards. Lashley now up 2-0.
And Lashley has exposed the steel turnbuckles here inside the six-sided ring. And now Eddie Edwards is perhaps... If Eddie doesn't get up, he may be...
Elapsed time, 15 minutes. 15 minutes remain.
We're halfway through.
Not yet.
If Eddie didn't answer that 10 count, he was going to lose another fall.
I have no idea why Lashley got out. They wanted to put some more. I don't think Lashley was aware of his count.
Well, it's 2-0, and at this point right now,
Yeah, the referee was counting. Eddie appeared to not be making it back to the ring, but Lashley, I don't think he knew where the ref was, or he would have stayed inside.
and now Eddie Edwards is back into the ring. Eddie's down 2-0, halfway to go, and at this point,
Lashley's game plan is to keep the champ on the outside.
of course, why wouldn't he?
Right.
With Eddie Edwards down and the damage that's been done to Eddie Edwards, I don't know if the champion can get back into this one. Are we looking at the next world champion in Lashley? Our main event, the Iron Man match for the World Championship, under 10 minutes to go. Lashley, the challenger, is up 2 falls to nothing, 2 falls to nil to the champion Eddie Edwards. Can anyone pin Lashley or make him submit twice or get him counted out twice in less than 10 minutes? Oh boy!
Well, it's looking very impossible at this moment in time.
And if you're looking at the six-sided ring and see that the turnbuckles have been ripped off, well, that was Lashley's doing.
Eddie's in the wrong corner.
Yes, he is, and Lashley goes head first off the steel buckle. Lashley down, and Eddie Edwards is 1 fall away from tying this up.
Eddie Edwards with the pinfall. It is now 2-1 Lashley.
2-1, under 10 minutes. There's a chance for Eddie Edwards.
Quick thinking on behalf of the champion, Eddie Edwards. Allowed him to move, get that exposed buckle to the head of Lashley, and a pinfall.
Eddie Edwards has a chance. As slight as it may be, Eddie Edwards has an opportunity here to retain his world championship.
Well, we all know that he's one Boston Tea Party away from a 3 count. It's Eddie Edwards. There's an insecurity.
If you're Lashley, should he try to stay away from Eddie Edwards?
Well, he's been doing that quite well for some time here.
Oh, I just don't think it's the instinct of Lashley to completely stay away. He likes to get in there, and he likes to get in there and fight with his opposition. He likes to get in there and bang around, but he may watch Eddie Edwards on the outside here.
Well, again,
going through the mind of Lashley.
Again, Lashley, you know, he just got rocked a couple of minutes ago, and much like in boxing, you get rocked, you forget your thoughts and you forget your game plan.
He's a bull, Lashley, isn't he? He only likes to go forward. 7 minutes to go, under 7 minutes now. Smile and confidence on the... What is he going to do out here now? What is it? Holy! Oh, and Eddie Edwards lands on his feet. Eddie Edwards lands on his feet. Boston knee party.
He connects on the wrap.
Eddie Edwards with the Boston knee party. There's no reason. One more look at this Boston knee party from Eddie Edwards to Lashley. Referee Brian Hebner is counting. It doesn't matter if both men get count out, but if one man can beat the count back in, like Eddie just did, referee at 8 now, Eddie can get a fallback. There's 9, and Lashley just gets back in.
Could have been 2-2, but Lashley found his way to the apron, staggered there, and got back in the ring.
6 minutes to go, it's still 2-1. Lashley still leads 2-1. Eddie Edwards delivered the Boston knee party. I think his best opportunity to even this up just went away when they were on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, but anything's possible. Lashley's going back to the well, looking for that delayed
Eddie
suplex.
Edwards lands on his feet, slips out the back. Lashley off the ropes. He got him again! He got him again! Eddie Edwards has tied this thing up! It's 2-2!
Eddie Edwards with the pinfall. It is now tied 2-2.
It's anybody's ball game now. It's 2-2. We're all evened up for the World Championship in this 30-minute Iron Man match.
And look at both men. Referees give them a 10 count for their break, but look at both men. The fatigue is now starting to set in.
Elapsed time 25 minutes. 5 minutes remain.
5 minutes to go, and Lashley spills to the outside.
And there's the champion. He's going for another shot, champion.
Big dive there by Eddie Edwards as he takes out Lashley with 4 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Now, the favor of this matchup turns to the champion, Eddie Edwards. We gotta talk about how big Lashley is, how much energy he has to use at this point, and the cardiovascular condition of the champion is very well documented.
These two amazing athletes have been going at it for over 25 minutes now, as Eddie Edwards and Lashley in a precarious situation. Eddie able to throw the challenger down. You can see the wear and tear that these two have gone through thus far. Eddie lands on his feet, and Lashley trying to counter, trying to dig deep, trying to fight through. And here comes Lashley!
A spear!
But Lashley rolled the opposite way. Now, comes into the cover, hooks the outside leg, and Lashley was that close to going up 3-2. Lashley just rolled the opposite way.
His momentum, I think, took him away from the body, but he went back to it, but no 3 count.
The fans here in the Impact Zone get behind the world champion with 3 minutes and 35 seconds to go.
And another knee party, Boston knee party.
He got him again, and Eddie Edwards is up for no, Lashley kicked out.
Woo. The action is unreal. These two men are letting it hang out here.
Lashley kicked out at 2. The score is tied. Listen to this place. Eddie Edwards up on the second rope, looking for a top rope hurricane Rana. Lashley looking for a powerbomb. And now Lashley quickly, head arm trap. Eddie Edwards may have to tap out here. Save yourself perhaps. And now Eddie Edwards taps out to Lashley.
Eddie Edwards has tapped out. Lashley now up 3-2.
With 2 minutes and 47 seconds to go, Eddie Edwards taps out to the head and arm trap. I think it was the smartest move for Eddie Edwards. Yes, it puts him down one fall, but had Lashley been able to hang on longer, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, you got 260, 70 plus pounds on top of you, pure muscle. He did the right thing.
Tap out, try to get a fall back here in 225. That's Eddie Edwards' game plan. Lashley, he can stick and move. That's what he has to do with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left.
And look, Lashley just pointed to the clock and hopped out of the ring. He knows that. Very smart of Lashley.
Lashley's going to take a lap around the ring. Lashley's out here.
Hey, man, you wanted this matchup. Get in there and be a man and win it. Win it the right way. Don't waste time.
There's no time left.
Past the 2-minute warning.
Whoa! You shot Caffeine.
Into the announce table. Eddie's got to hurry, though. Eddie's down 3-2. He's got to hurry. 95 seconds remain. Eddie Edwards has got to even this thing up. Looking for the Boston knee pony counter, and Lashley plants him.
Dominating spine buster by Lashley. Lashley wanted this matchup. He's up. Be a man, stay in there, and win it the right way.
He has won it the right way. He's up 3-2. He has won it the right way. I see what you're saying, but he doesn't. You got to be smart. There's 70 seconds left. Take nothing away from what Lashley has accomplished here tonight.
Look at this.
And now Lashley with a... No, he got caught! Eddie Edwards caught him! Eddie Edwards has the head trap! Eddie Edwards has Lashley trapped up!
The guillotine is locked in!
The hooks are in! Lashley's got to try to hang on! Lashley's fading! 40 seconds to go! And Lashley may have to tap out here to Eddie Edwards!
Pull Eddie! Cinch it in!
Look at the hands are locked under the chin! 30 seconds! It's 3-2! And Lashley's fading!
Eddie needs him to tap if he wants to save his title!
Lashley wants to win the World's Championship! He's up 3-2!
He's fading!
He's fading quickly as Lashley, but he's trying to stay into this! That's one. If his hand drops 3 times, it'll be a fall. There's 2 with 7 to go, 6 to go, 5 to go. Lashley not giving up the hand. Lashley's hanging on. Lashley is going to be the world champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match and new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Lashley.
After 30 minutes, after a grueling and physical encounter, a match for the ages. That doesn't matter to the former champion Eddie Edwards, but it will matter to the new 4-time world champion Lashley. I know you were talking about Lashley did nothing wrong here.
Well, it was smart by Lashley. I mean, but when you come out and you're saying raise your hand or Lashley is a champion.
I got to disagree with you. I mean, look.
The match wasn't over.
30 minutes. Lashley won 3-2. He dominated. He was locked up in a guillotine for 40 seconds, and he didn't pass out. He didn't tap out. He just survived.
Give the man his credit.
Lashley is the world champion yet again. It's a new day. It's a new beginning. The unstoppable juggernaut of force has the gold.